This is a fucking war!
There are those who say it causes madness.
Horrendously awful things are happening.
I am Dracula.
Oh, what?
The boat can leave now. Tell the crew.
Pale, emotionless face. The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
Whoa, express elevator to hell. Going down.
What's happening, pimps and pimpettes? We're back with another really exciting movie to watch today. Today, we're going to watch Dellamorte, Dellamore, or, if you're from one of those pesky English-speaking countries, the cemetery. Dellamorte, Dellamore is like an Italian translation for like death and love, or of death and love, which you imagine if you made that as the title of your movie and then it's international or it's foreign release and just called it Cemetery Man, you'd be a little disappointed. But yeah, this is good old, I want to say classic Italian horror. It came out in 1994, so it's almost like the last of, in a way, at least as far as like that old school Italian horror era. I've never seen, I don't have much 90s Italian horrors, let's put it that way. Directed by Michele Sovia, probably saying that horror there. Michelo. Either way, this guy was like a protege of Dario Argento, so like all of Dario Argento's classic movies, like this guy was doing stuff. I don't really know much to say about this. I have seen it once before, and all I really remember is it's about a guy who works in the cemetery, and there's this spooky bitch who I think he bangs in the crypt, and I remember there being a bunch of Hell's Angels at one point, and there being like this cover of Ozzy Osbourne's Hellraiser that anyone I've seen talk about on the internet says it's horrible and it's terrible, but it's close enough to Hellraiser that I like it. It's almost just like a Hellraiser demo instrumental or something. But that's all I really know. So, does this movie hold up? Will this movie hold up? Is it any good? Or is it a hunk of shit? We'll find out now! Man. Can I should pick him or what? I just want to review a normal movie again. I don't know how I'm meant to talk about this shit, like how I'm meant to contextualize and crush this movie into like a YouTube video. But I'll try. First of all, is Cemetery Man good? It took a minute, but it's getting a fuck yeah. It's getting a fuck yeah. Holy shit though, this movie is bonkers. The best I can describe it is it's got the same kind of flavour and feel as maybe a Beetlejuice, a Bad Taste, what was Tim Burton's other early movie, Brain Dead. It's got kind of that kind of kooky weird feel about it. But fuck it, we'll just jump in and talk about the plot. I'm just going to tell you what happened in this movie, at least the best of my recollection. So, Dellamorte, Dellamore, Cemetery Man is about the cemetery man. This guy works in a cemetery, and for no explained reason, on the 7th day after someone dies, they come back to life like total zombie style. And the cemetery man and his what's the politically correct way to say, retarded, overweight, opie sidekick, they basically work and live at the cemetery, and they just be putting holes in these zombies' heads. And no one in the town seems to believe them, but that's it. It's just people die, 7 days later they come back, caps them in the head, or splits their head with like an axe or whatever have you. And so what happens is this old dude dies and his funeral happens, and there's this unbelievably beautiful woman in attendance at the funeral, and Mr. Cemetery Man's pure like infatuated with her, and he tries to make chat with her, and it turns out that it's like, he's like, oh, I'm sorry about your dad. It turns out it's not her dad. It was actually her husband, like this really old man, and she's dead defensive, like, he was the best lover ever, and you could never know, and it didn't go so well. But as it happens, she keeps coming back to the grave, and he keeps trying, badly might I add, and she's just about to walk and storm out a final time, and he doesn't use the word crypt. It's like some fancier word that I wish I remembered, but he basically says, I got a crypt, and she goes, really? And then she goes and like meets him at his crypt, and she gets there like turned on, but she's like, oh, I canna, and then leaves. But then later at night she then comes back, and they start smooching and going at it, and then eventually they like go to like have sex, but she wants to have sex like next to her dead husband's grave, because she says they were always open and honest, and she feels that she would want him to know. And just as they're about to, or as they've started having sex, this girl has massive titties, by the way. That's important. But anyway, just as they're about having sex, just above this guy's grave, he comes back to life, and he busts up through the grave, and he fucking bites the chick. And that's when we'll call him Opie. It's not his name, but Opie, the cemetery man's assistant. He pickaxes the old dude from back. And but he's bit the chick, and you assume that she's dead, but he's all like, oh, I'll keep the corpse with me, because they fell in love. We're just getting started, by the way. So he's sitting with her, and she's got like something covering her face, and he's like, please don't come back. And she gets up, and he's like, oh fuck. So he caps her. What happened next? So then he goes to meet the mayor. And as he's going into town, he's getting like all these this biker gang. They're not like Hell's Angels, they're just a biker gang. And they're all like shouting at him like, hey, impotent and shit. Like there's like a rumour going around that Cemetery Man's like dick doesn't work. But he walks past them, he meets the mayor. The mayor's daughter's there, and like Opie is pure infatuated, but he's like, but she's being nice, you know, although she's calling him it and saying, Daddy, can we buy it? But he's all like, and he loses his cool. He ends up like spewing on her, and it's at this point where her boyfriend, who's on like one of the biker gangs, comes and goes, "Hey babe, come hop on," and Opie's all like, dead upset because he loved her, and well, this is the thing. So then it cuts to the bit with the Aussie music, the Hellraiser music playing. It's all the bikers and that jigging around. I shit you not, I don't think I watched the end of this movie last time I watched it. But it's all them jigging around, and then I shit you the fuck not. I'm sitting there, me as an audience viewer, I'm sitting there looking at it, it's like, yeah, rebellious biker gang wearing helmets, and then like they turn around this wee bit, and this fucking bus full of with a priest and like school Boy Scouts comes in and like fucking crushes over their heads and everything, and then the bus goes off the cliff. So what happens now? Well, now they all go to the funeral, they all get buried, and your boy Cemetery Man says to Opie, it's like, we're going to need a lot of bullets. That's the funeral's going on, so like the mayor's daughter's like boyfriend is there, and there's this other chick who's like, Fabio, oh Fabio, and they're like, hey, he wasn't your boyfriend, and she's like, no, he loved me, he did not love that whore, he loved me. So basically it's like Cemetery Man's just sitting there vibing one night, and all these like zombie school kids come, and he's just like capping them all in the head, as if like this is like black comedy shit, you know, like it's not scary, but it's not proper, it's just bizarre, fucked up, weird shit. Opie's like sitting there watching the TV with his headphones in, whilst he's like shouting, I'm like, Opie, shooting all these fucking zombies and shit, until he eventually shoots a hole in the TV, and that kind of brings Opie into it, which is then when they go out into the grave, and they see that chick over Fabio's grave. So like, Fabio, don't leave me, because she's heard rumours that they come back from the dead, and they're like, get away from her, it's visiting hours are over. And then I shit you not, like something out of a Motorhead music video, the Hellraiser ripoff starts playing again, and this Fabio dude busts out the grave on a fucking motorbike. It's like fucking starts brimming off, Cemetery Man sitting there busting caps, trying to fucking shit like. Meanwhile, this chick's like chasing after, going, Fabio, Fabio, I love you, Fabio. He's still not even anywhere near into it. So eventually they find Fabio and this chick, and it's like he's sitting eating the chick, and she's like, go away, leave us alone. It is my body, I can choose who eats me. And he goes to shoot Fabio, but like, cool as fuck shot. He shoots Fabio, and then as he shoots Fabio, like the bullet goes through Fabio's head and through this bitch's head and shit. It's, yeah, well, fucking, we're not even, like, honestly, we're just getting started. At this point, I should say that when the mayor's daughter got buried, she got like a glass coffin, and like Opie's like sitting there pure like pure romanticising and fantasising over this glass coffin bastards in the grave. Like, I don't know if it's that it's not been buried properly yet or if he's dug her up, but she's in the see-through coffin and she like her fucking eyes open and she's smiling. So Opie, he's that dead excited, so he busts the glass open and pulls her head off her body, and like, but she's still alive because she's like a zombie, and she starts talking and she's being dead. And it's like, oh, I remember you. She's like, I remember you from before. Now would be a good time to give me a kiss. Not that I'm in any position to say no, although even if I could, I don't think I wouldn't. So like, fucking Opie just takes this mayor's daughter's head, and like that's now like his, like he's like he's dead happy with it and shit. It's at this point when remember the first girl, the girl that got bit by her dearly departed husband? Well, she's come back again, proper zombified and shit, and Cemetery Man's all like, oh, I fucking love you till the end of time and shit, and like fucking hugging and snacking on and shit, but then she takes a chunk out of his neck, but he's not got any of his shit on him. So then Opie comes out and hits the fucking axe on, and that's when Cemetery Man gets dead fucking depressed because he's like, oh fuck, I killed her. Like, before when she came back from the dead, I thought she'd died and that was her coming back, but it wasn't. She just fainted. That was her back, and I shot her, and that was her just coming back there. But my one love of my life, and I fucking killed her. No! Honestly, we're still not even. So then, like, they're burning some leaves and some old phone books, and then through this fire, the fucking Grim Reaper comes up and starts talking to Cemetery Man, and he's all like, stop killing the dead. That's my job. And he's like, well, what am I meant to do? It's like, then Death goes, if you want the dead to stop coming alive, kill the living. Shoot them in the head. And I fucking shit you not, so Cemetery Man just starts fucking going around capping cunts and shit. Like, mind I told you about like one of the biker gang that's always like calling him impotent and shit? Goes up and just starts fucking capping all them and shit. So at this point though, like, it's like this detective cop, and there's a running theme where it's like he keeps having all the evidence to like arrest Cemetery Man, but for whatever reason he doesn't quite do it. But it's kind of like he's almost letting him off, but not. But it's at this point where the mayor comes back because he wants his daughter dug up, because he's wanting to get re-elected, so he thinks because it's a glass coffin, if they could take a picture of him mourning by his dead daughter, then that could be a good story. But then obviously they dig it up, and there's just the body, there's no head. So and Cemetery Man's just sitting there, he's like, what's this all about? Cemetery Man's cool, by the way, he's just sitting there smoking fire. God knows, eh? And then you just hear his daughter go, Daddy, Daddy, and like he's like, my daughter, where's my daughter? Daddy, come here. And then he goes into like Opie's room. Mind how I said Cemetery Man shot out Opie's TV? Well, now in his TV is the head of this chick's daughter, and she's like, ha ha ha, with Opie and shit. And he's like, what's going on here and stuff, and she's like, oh, Daddy, you're so silly. I love him. I wish to be married to him. He's like, over my dead body. He goes, that can be arranged, and the head just jumps out the telly and starts gushing on the mayor's neck. So Cemetery Man comes in, obviously puts a carpet in the head. This is a movie, I just watched this movie. This is a real movie. Then Opie's obviously all sad. He's like, I'm sorry, Opie. But you got to admit, she was getting a bit by herself by day anyway. Then it cuts to like a little bit later on, and now the mayor is back, because he's dead, but now he's back, and he's like, get down from there. You've got to be setting an example. And he's like, I'm the mayor, I'll do what I want. And then he shoots him, and he goes, dead mayor. So then we get a new mayor, right? And the new mayor is introducing himself. He goes, "Oh, and this is my assistant." And his assistant is the chick from the very start, the chick that Cemetery Man killed because she thought she was dead, the one that had the husband and everything. It's her. And it's like, what the fuck? Then she comes back later and she's all like, "I can't explain it, but since I've come to this town, I've been drawn here. I've been drawn to this place. I've been drawn to you. I love you." He's like, "I love you too." And then she goes, "But I've heard around town that you're impotent." And she goes, No, it's not true. It's all lies." She goes, "Oh, because I have a phobia of..." I can't remember the exact words she used, which basically says, like, "I've got a boner phobia." So he's like, "Oh, no, I do. I am impotent. It's like, brilliant, then we shall get married." But then he's now sitting there, he's like, "Fuck, I can't get a boner." So he goes to his doctor. This is a movie. He goes to his doctor and he's like, "Doc, I need you to cut off my dick." The doctor's like, "I can't do it." He's like, "Cut off my dick." So then he's like sitting there with his legs up and the doctor's got like these giant scissors. He's like, "I can't do it, mate. I can't do it." And he gets this giant syringe, like comically giant syringe. But let me stab this in you. Let me stab this into you, and it'll be like you don't have it. You never had a dick at all. And he's like, "Yeah, fucking go for it. No anesthesia." Ah! So it's at this stage where this new reincarnation, if you would, the mayor's secretary or whatever, the one that he's in love with, it's the reincarnation. So she comes up and he's feeling all chuffed because he's like, "Well, my dick now doesn't work, we can get married," and all this shit. And she goes, so, you know, she sits there and he's like kissing her. She's like, "That's not what I came here to tell you about." She goes, "The mayor, he raped me." He goes, "What?" It's like, "No, but it wasn't all bad. Well, the violence was, but, you know, once we got through with it, we done it again, and it was much better, and I'm cured. I'm going to marry the mayor. I'm going to marry the mayor now. I still love you, but just not like that. I've told the mayor about it. He says you're a spiffing good chap." And like, it's like the camera's pure spinning, and honestly at this stage I'm like, because he's just fucking plumped his cock so that it doesn't work for this chick. You know, they didn't really need to, and now she's saying that she's been fucking the mayor, and wow! Oh no, it's sickening feeling. Sickening. I didn't like it. So now he's just like, "Man, fuck everything. Fuck all this." And he's sitting in a bar or some shit, and this blonde college chick comes up and goes like, "Hey, is that carrot side yours?" And he's like, "Well, fuck off." And she's like, "Please, give me and my friends, we need a lift back home." He's like, "Fuck off." He's like, No, please, it's not far from here." And it's like, sure enough, like fucking, the camera pans up to this college chick's friends, and who is it? It's the chick again! So he ends up like giving them a lift back to their house. He's like, "Come on in the house, there's another girlfriend of ours, come on in, you're not afraid, are you?" And then it's like, she goes in, and then the one that's like the chick again, she sits down by the window, and like, I don't know how to describe it, it's just cool as fuck. Sometimes just sitting in front of the flag, it's like, what the fuck? And she sits and goes like, "I grant wishes, you know." He goes, "I wish you loved me." He's like, "That can be arranged." And then like they go upstairs, and he's like, I think you should know, this might not work. I've been taking some medication, and it cuts to like that, like both of them just back on the bed, her big titty and screen shit, and it makes the trainers like, doo-doo. It's like, I don't think your medication's working. So then Cemetery Man goes downstairs to get some wine, where the blonde chick's like, you can discuss payment with me. He's like, "What?" It's like, "You can discuss payment with me. We're students after all." It's like, "What?" It's like, "Well, we don't have scholarships. It'll only be like X amount Libra or whatever." He's like, "Ah." And then he goes back upstairs, and like the chick's like in bed, she's like, "Oh, I'm cold." And he's like, "Don't worry, I'll heat you up forever." He gets like this old school heater and like puts it on the bed, then puts like her coat over it. It's like, "You'll be warm forever now." And then like he's sitting there, you see the camera pan, he's like sparking a fag in his car, as you see like the fires of the house like going, you see all the shit going like, fucking screaming. And he's like, "I think I'm done with love." He drives away. So then it's like the next day, this cop comes back. He's like, "Dellamorte." By the way, Dellamorte is his name. I've just been calling him Cemetery Man. But yeah, he comes and goes, "Dellamorte." He goes, "Let me guess, you want to know where I was between 1 and 3 last night?" It's like, "Well, yes, but it's okay, because the real killer already went home, killed his wife and kids, and confessed, and is now in a mental institution." He's like, "What? Someone stole my kills?" Say, "What?" He starts swagging into this mental institution, mental institution, whatever you want to call it, ward or whatever, and they're all like, you can't go in there. He's like, I need to know, I need to get his measurements or whatever. And he goes in, and basically it's his mate Francis, who I've not mentioned before because he's got such a minor role, but basically Francis gives him a call up once in a while and asks how he's going. That's about the extent of Francis, but basically Francis is sitting there in this coma now, and he's sitting there, he sits down and he goes, Francis, what the fuck, man? Why'd you steal my kills? And he's like sitting, he's all cold. He's like, Francis, for fuck's sake, what's going on? He's sitting there smoking away, like, I get this, you might have thought that you were trying to help me, but like, you're stealing my kills. And then shit you not, because you're sitting there smoking away. This nurse comes in and goes, put that out! And then Cemetery Man just fucking shoots her through the eye. He goes, he's in a bloody coma. He doesn't understand. He doesn't know anything. He's sitting there, continues his chat with this Francis dude who's in a coma. And then the doctor comes and goes, nurse, what are you doing? She's on the deck. He goes, she's praying. And then the fucking doctor comes in and goes like, well, this guy here doesn't seem like he's got much life left. You know, you can make the call and I can end it all now. And starts like twiddling like the knobs on his like coma device or whatever. Cemetery Man just like, no! Fucking shoots him. Continues his chat. And then it's at this point when another nurse comes in and goes, oh my god, what's going on here? It says they killed each other. It's like, what? It's like, they were arguing over something. It's like, don't you believe me? He's like, no! He's like, fucking shoots her. And then like he's walking out of the hospital, all this chaos is going on, the cops there, and he goes like, Dellamorte, it's good you're here, there's another killer on the list, he's up on the 4th floor, and he sees him with a gun, he goes, good, you've already got a gun, you can protect yourself. And then he just like, the Cemetery Man just loses, he goes, it was fucking me! And it basically just, if memory serves, it basically just cuts to Cemetery Man and Opie bucking in the car, and they're like, he has one brief chat with Death again where he's like, I quit, I'm out, and Death's like, where will you go? But then, yeah, it's him and Opie, they get in the car and they hit the open road. So at this point, there's always been like two things. He's always done voiceover narrative, Cemetery Man, like kind of death-related poetry. And the other thing is he's always said like he wants to get out of here. Sometimes get out of being alive, like, you know, lines like, oh, I'd kill to be dead, or I'd give my life if I meant that I could die and stuff. But he's also talked about like, I'd love to get out of this town, but does the rest of the world? Does the rest of the world even exist? So like as they're driving, it's playing this really dramatic fucking music, and as they're driving, like they get to this tunnel that's like in a mountain, and it's like, here it is, Opie, the other side of this tunnel, the rest of the world. And they drive, and then eventually they get out, and it's like the road just fucking, as if like the road had been destroyed, but it's like, it's not, it's just the road ends, but with like all the corrugated steel coming out of it. He stops the car and he looks out, and it's just like mountains of vastness, and like a big drop to like ocean, and he's like, I should have known. There is no rest of the world. The rest of the world doesn't exist. And like Opie comes out. Well, first of all, when he breaks, like Opie bashes his head. And you think Opie's dead, but he's not. But he's like sitting there and he's got the gun, and like Opie chucks the gun, and he's like, oh, you're my best friend. It took me this long to realise and stuff. And it's snowing for some reason, but it's at this point as well, I should say that Opie's only ever kind of said yes or no, like or like no, but not even that much. And then it's like Opie gets up, and once he chucks the gun up, he then like sits there. I've always forgotten exactly what accent, but he basically, for the first time in the whole movie, just sits there and says like, well, do you fancy taking me home then? And like Cemetery Man goes like, no. And then like it flips, like the image that you see of them standing on the edge of this thing out of this tunnel over onto this mountain flips into like, what do you call it, like a snow globe. It's like them in a snow globe, but like as like snow globe ornaments, and it zooms out, and that's the end of the movie. Man, I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of, as I was watching it, I was like, this is just fucking fucked up weird shit for the sake of fucked up weird shit. Like I said, early Tim Burton, early Peter Jackson sort of style, which is fitting because it's the same early 90s kind of time, man. And like I say, this plot is totally nonsensical, but it's fucking entertaining. Like, if you like that kind of dark, morbid kind of humour stuff, and aren't so heavy on plot, but also a nice visual aesthetic, check this out, man. Like, if you like old Tim Burton, check this out. If you like old Peter Jackson, check this out. I mean, you've just heard me sit and waffle about of, like, besides the fact I've probably given away a lot of the shock value, but, like, I still don't think I've done it major justice. I'm gonna say fucking check this shit out. It's fucked up, it's weird, but it's got class, it's got character. Cemetery Man's cool, Opie's infectious, their relationship together is like really nice and cozy, and there's just a lot of weird characters in it. Like, yeah, give it a go.
We've been on the run, driving in the sun, looking out for number one. California, here we come, right back where we started from.